Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to game number 3 in week number 3 of our Community FFA tournament. This time we're going to be on IO, and we're featuring Poor Sheep, MrCubez, the Martian, and veriestVarlet, very graciously stepping in and subbing for us. Philithanix still here, providing us some of that commentary.
Yeah, so this map, we do have expansives, robots, scientists, and elites. 1 early game faction, 3 late game factions. As per usual on IO, there are plenty of founding locations.
Yeah.
So we're just going to wait for a long time. Some things that do jump out at me. There is this really nice sort of scientist ice spot with aluminum nearby. Lots of aluminum and a little bit of silicon directly to the right of the colony. Up north, well, there's not a lot of ice, but there is a silicon there. Where else are we looking at? Prime real estate. Silicon is a little bit awkward, but you do have all that basalt. Now, what's really awkward is carbon.
Carbon, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Is
one
carbon's
high
pretty limited.
And 8 spread out, mostly spread out lows, except for a patch here. veriestVarlet is going to found first, going to go robot. Well, founded with $20 debt, so that's not too bad. Everybody else hasn't really figured out what they're doing just yet, so they're just waiting for more and more cash, and I can't blame them.
Yeah, I think it's a resource-rich map, so everybody is kind of sitting, waiting. They're going to see what they can see before choosing to get on the board. Worth pointing out that veriestVarlet is making money faster now that all of the buildings are online than all of our other players are, but they're going to have pretty big starting bonuses when they finally get on the ground.
Yes. Well, we have 3 robots and only 1 expansive. That, even of itself, is a little bit surprising.
Yeah, you don't normally expect to see people late on people like to favor expansive. Let's put it that way. We see a lot of expansive on IO, despite the high life support prices, because you have so many extra claims. And once again, IO very similar to Series in that on-world resources tend to be quite valuable, and so a lot of extra claims can really help that out. That said, because life support gets expensive, going robot can make a lot of sense if you think you're going to have trouble with debt. And so I don't mind seeing all of these robots. Please, nobody build a pleasure dome this game. Just please.
Yeah. Well, so everyone waited so long to found that veriestVarlet upgraded to HQ2 right in the middle of all of them.
Yep,
so,
did get there. Does have more cash than anybody else does right now.
Right. So there were some decently decent starting prices, so Various was able to just, do her own thing, sell down some stuff, get to that upgrade. What do we have going on here? Poor Sheep is down to the south of the colony, moving immediately into a couple of nuclear reactors. That power price is going to creep up higher and higher due to all these robots.
Yeah, definitely.
What else?
Definitely going to be a high power price, although the solar flare shouldn't do anything because everyone should have nuclear plants down.
MrCubez is getting some of that early fuel money, which is good. Fuel on IO is often like power, spiking early and then going down. MrCubez is making it go down, so getting all the benefits off of that.
Yeah, it's going to be a nice pickup for him, and especially nice because he has this high carbon tile secured, and so he's getting into fuel. And not only is he getting into fuel, he's grabbing up some of that early fuel money. That's nice. Later on in the game, yes, it's a bunch of robots, but eventually fuel's going to get a bit more expensive. We do have garages, as this is IO, so fuel's going to go up in price eventually, and our robots aren't really going to want to put down those ion collectors because they cost carbon. They cost a lot of carbon to put down. So it's very nice for MrCubez to combine, get the fuel online, and secure the best carbon on the map.
Poor Sheep, first HQ3 paid through all of his debt with those 2 early nuclear reactors. Everybody has 1 bribe claim each. I believe Poor Sheep got it first, then Various, and then I forget for the next two, but everyone's equal in that sense. Everyone's
everybody
upgrading
gets
HQ3. MrCubez still, I'd say, in a pretty good position on HQ3. A little bit more cash than everybody, and those extra claims. Not too much debt. Poor Sheep also doing well, and going to get EMP'd because of it.
Yeah, I do find this interesting. I want to point out this setup from Poor Sheep where he had 3 nuclear plants online, chose to separate them and use one nuclear plant. While it was making power, nuclear plants are strong enough that you can get away with this. They get some adjacency bonus from this basalt platform, so it's an adjacency bonus nuclear plant still, because it's next to the basalt, but it also is going to improve the production of the basalt and improve the production of the steel mills that it's next to. And so that's letting him get away with just having 2 steel mills online and keeping up, being ahead maybe of even everybody else despite this very, very high steel price. So just interesting positioning there from Poor Sheep on IO. This is kind of a unique little trick you can use. It's very effective.
Right, so we did have some black market going down here. There are no spies, so Poor Sheep was unlucky with their choice of EMPing, and that EMP bounced right back onto them. And then the Martian deciding that, well, Poor Sheep is EMP'd out, so I should slow down. Sorry, MrCubez deciding to slow down the Martian.
Yep. May as well just spread it around. If you're not really sure who your primary opponent is, go ahead and spread the pain, although Poor Sheep's still looking pretty dangerous at this point. A couple water processors online, a farm online, got some solar condensers online. He's really split into a bunch of different markets and very vulnerable to these EMPs and slowdown strikes because of trying to use that robotic adjacency bonus.
That being said, he is using the robotic adjacency bonus as protected as you can get.
Yep. He's making a good effort at it, trying.
So this Pleasure Dome is probably already bid up close to what it's worth, or too high.
Sold.
One of the two.
I mean, I don't like it because you're
83.
making money in power already, and $83, and it's costing you 56 in power. So,
Oh, MrCubez going for an early buy on Poor Sheep.
he doesn't have it.
Doesn't have it, but he's going to be.
Yeah. It's very close. They both need 2 stock. MrCubez and Poor Sheep have about the same amount of money, but Poor Sheep seems to be making more money, especially with this power surge.
And now,
and that's not going to help.
Yep. So
Yeah, we're done here.
time for MrCubez to back out and put that money into upgrading and defending themselves a little bit. veriestVarlet is in a patent lab,
The black market
still
is
constructing
online.
right now.
And up to HQ4.
And up to
I mean, sitting off in
HQ4.
this corner. But that corner seems to be working out pretty well. I don't really like the patent lab positioning. This is something that I harp on. I like to have at least 3 labs to throw my patent lab out there. And if you're going to have the patent lab out here, I think I would have liked to see it next to the offices. That would have been maybe an excuse. Get the patent lab for now, put it next to the offices, switch it into a hacker array later.
Oh, Poor Sheep bought their stock. That's where their money disappeared. Defending themselves, I can count.
Yeah, MrCubez needs to sell out of this. It is not
it's-
going to happen.
Nope. Just keeping. Yep. Now there it is for sure. Sell out, MrCubez. Don't keep on buying. You're not going to make it. Delaying the upgrade is far worse. You don't have. Just look at MrCubez. Hold that X key. Look at these low numbers. It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. It's just actually that simple. It's not going to happen. Meanwhile, the Martian and veriestVarlet have to really be enjoying what's going on right now because Poor Sheep and MrCubez have both been forced to put their money into this stock. I mean, MrCubez wasn't forced to, but Poor Sheep was. If he hadn't had to do that, he would pretty easily be HQ5 by now. He'd be making even more money. While he could sell out of this stock a little bit to push up to HQ5, it's not something he can do right now, obviously, as MrCubez still threatening to potentially buy him out. So it is definitely slowing Poor Sheep down to be in this fight, and that's something the Martian and veriestVarlet are going to be very happy about.
Unless, of course, Poor Sheep makes a majority buy pickup on MrCubez because MrCubez refuses to sell out of Poor Sheep, which should have happened a long time ago.
Going to assume it's not going to happen. happen.
That's what I'm
just
going to assume too.
The black
But I'm
market
just throwing
is
out that
online.
there as a possibility. Every
Wait.
second that MrCubez hasn't sold out is a mistake. There we go, finally.
HQ has been upgraded.
Hey, got an HQ level 4 immediately. I mean, he could sell out of all of this, and he'd be pushing HQ 5 probably.
Sell out of all of it. Defend yourself. Come on,
Yeah,
continue
defend
selling.
yourself. That is one of the steps there. Gotta keep selling.
Your stock is being
Being
sold.
very slow on these sells, and suddenly poor sheep getting aggressive.
This is what
Is he
I was
gonna
worried
do it?
about. MrCubez
boy.
delaying too much.
Your
Sell
stock is
out,
being
buy.
sold.
And there's that majority buy I predicted.
That should not have happened.
No, it should not have. And now all of a sudden, the Martian and veriestVarlet are not happy with MrCubez. Whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm broken. I got nothing. I mean, you're so dangerous at this point and so well protected. Poor Sheep could legitimately just keep selling out his own stock and get another majority buy, because that's the kind of thing that can happen when you win that kind of stock battle. I mean, he can just sell out right now and pick it up. Or not and pick it up. All right, keep going. Make the Martian defend himself. He's not going to buy you. I mean, look at it. It's so much money to buy Poor Sheep right now just because his stock price is stupid high. I mean, stupid high.
Yes.
It's insane. Almost 300,000 to pick him up. Probably 300,000 once you've gotten the buying done. In a majority buy.
New building is available for auction.
All right. Well, we had a game.
We did have a game, and then it turned out to be not one.
We're not even looking at, I'm not looking at production. I'm not looking at advanced buildings. I'm not looking about anything, because this entire game just came down to a stock market slip up.
A stock market slip up, and then veriestVarlet not noticing that if Poor Sheep didn't pick up MrCubez, they were going to be a target, could be a target, not putting enough money in defending themselves. So 2 back-to-back stock mistakes.
Painful.
Bro. Poor Sheep
And now
selling
everything is slowed
themselves
down with this option.
into having that much money just by that really good placement of those buildings, using those robot adjacencies. How much did Poor Sheep get attacked? Because a lot of those attacks didn't happen until after the majority buy attempts started happening.
I mean, he was getting slowdown strikes periodically. He was getting EMPs here and there, but I don't think anybody was quite ready for in particular, the buy into the sell off the stock in myself that I just acquired from this purchase, right? That's where it got nuts. Oh, wow.
So
Space elevator.
I'm going to use this lull in the action to harp on something I've harped on a little bit, if you'll indulge me. Just a little bit.
I do it all the time, so.
So I've been saying for a while that I think the instant price increase from buying out stocks shouldn't happen, and it should be a slow increase, like when you pay down debt.
And you think
A,
this might be why?
for consistency, and B, if that was the case, Poor Sheep would have had to wait for his stock to appreciate in value. It wouldn't have immediately been double priced, or whatever it was, from buying out MrCubez. And then that sort of majority steamroll wouldn't have happened, or would have been a lot harder, and we might still have a game. Poor Sheep would be in the driver's seat.
Yeah, he would be.
And
he
it-
still is.
Well, right
It would
now,
have been harder.
Poor Sheep winning is almost a foregone conclusion, unless they make some really big mistakes.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I mean, Poor Sheep is definitely in the strongest position at this point. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. And I have to say, I don't know if I've ever argued with you about the stock potentially, the stock price not moving instantly.
You have not. Other people have.
All right, yeah, I mean, I think that's the kind of change I could get behind. I was also watching this game and thinking, you know, I like that the $100 increase for founding in 1v1, because it just gets it done faster. Maybe in FFA it should be 50. We had a lot of waiting around this game, and a really big bonus for 3 players at the start of the match.
Yeah.
And veriestVarlet was able to keep pace with that, but not get ahead of it very easily by getting on the ground.
That might be a IO-specific change to make, simply because IO's usually so resource-rich.
Get our science on.
That's true.
And
That's
that
true.
IO being so unless it's a map with low ice, which is then
Well,
just
and-
painful.
Although the one low ice game we saw, the low ice player lost quite soundly, or the ice player lost.
To be
quite
fair, that
soundly.
was because it was a stock victory game and it ended at Soul 4
It did.
instead
It
of a majority buy, which would have been far more competitive. I don't know that Hexaplus would have won. Would have been far more competitive.
That's fair. That's fair
The
enough.
black market is
But yeah,
open
so
for business.
making it so that the auction after the first player found only goes up by 50 each tick instead of 100 probably would be something I could get behind. The more I think about it, the more I like it. You just force people to actually start playing instead of entering into a prisoner's dilemma standoff. Who wants to found first?
Yeah, exactly. Oh boy. Well, the Martian is going to keep buying into Poor Sheep here, which, I mean, Poor Sheep is going to have to buy that last unit of stock eventually, but he's got the cash for it, so it's not like it's not going to happen, which means I don't really know if I like this buying into Poor Sheep thing. There is instead the option of simply trying to buy into the valuable subsidiary, because there is one subsidiary that's good
Yes.
and one that's not.
So if the Martian was going to make it a game, buying as much shares into the subsidiary, particularly veriestVarlet, would have been a good idea. MrCubez now also with a space elevator up, a decent sub to buy in. Those space elevators are making 44k profit a launch.
Everything's blown up. Where is these players' aluminum? That's my question. Okay. It's underneath these nuclear plants for veriestVarlet. That's a sub.
I've already had my one rant for the game, so I won't mention what I think about this event.
You don't like it. You don't like having all your buildings blown up.
No, well, it's
That's
not.
fine.
It's the fact that they blow up the same number of buildings, but it's an RNG as to whether the good buildings of yours get blown up or the bad buildings.
It's true.
I mean, this game, we can do a lot of calculation in the background. It's not like a board game, so you could have it blow up an equal amount of, try and equalize the repair cost and profits when you blow up all the buildings. But, like I said, I had my one rant for the game, this game already, so no need
That's fair.
to double down on 2.
Pirates.
Thinking
I hate those
machines
filthy bandits.
picked up for Poor Sheep. I find it unlikely that's going to have too much impact on this game. Still needs to get that one last solar condenser repaired. Not quite fixed that up just yet. And currently making about 1,000 per second and 1,100 per second off the subsidiaries. Definitely a nice thing for Poor Sheep, because you can look at it and say, oh, the Martian, he's gotten some stock picked up. That's nice. And that's nice is about all you can really say about it, because that's exactly what it's worth.
Optimization center is ready. Time to start improving.
I don't know.
Right.
I'm just watching this slow death of the Martian. I feel like if he was going to have any shot this game, he had 2 options, right? Go for the super long game, try and outplay Poor Sheep in the long game, pick up as much subsidiary stock as you can to raise your own stock price, and start picking up that income once it actually gets good. Because you had a while there where it wasn't good income. So Poor Sheep didn't have a really great income advantage yet. You could potentially try and get in on that. It was going to be expensive, yes, but it was doable.
Right.
Or you go for the short-term hacker array, and we didn't see either of those.
Yeah, the going for the stock is definitely the safer way. You're still probably going to lose. It's because Poor Sheep will be most likely able to pick up more of those stocks than you would, but at least gives you a fighting chance.
Exactly. Whereas here, we've gone from probably lose to, yeah, I really don't see any actual way to win. Players' cash is very even. That's nice. Players stocking each other is even. That's nice. But the Martian just has a much lower stock price, and Poor Sheep has far more income from having all these shares and subsidiaries. Now, I wish he wouldn't buy any more, because there's just no need at this point. We're just extending the game by doing that at this point. His subsidiaries have become less valuable from upgrading now, but the only remaining thing they can do to decrease their value temporarily is throw up those additional space elevators, now that they're HQ 5. And so we are just going to see a ton of income from these subsidiaries, and there's really no need for Poor Sheep to buy more into them. He can just go win the game. I much prefer seeing people just going and winning the game. When you've got the win, you just go win, just go kill them. It's fine.
Yep. And then the other reason, I'm assuming the reason why the Martian isn't surrendering, even though it's kind of looking like at that point that's what you do, is in most of our tournaments, you're not allowed to surrender. And we've beat that into everybody's heads since the, year and a half that Offworld's been out?
Yeah, pretty much.
So that's kind of a hard thing to, overcome in the moment. So that's why I don't blame the Martian for extending the game out, because 9 tournaments out of 10, if they surrendered, we'd be yelling at them.
That's true. Well, subsidiary income is ramping up for Poor Sheep. Poor Sheep has 300,000 of the requisite 668 to get this done. So as you can see, about halfway there.
Dubin in chat on the Starduck stream adds some strength to my argument against the blowing things up. It's a math. It increases the Matthew effect. It hurts the people with more money less than the people with less money.
The engineers have advanced our production.
This is one of those things that I'm relatively ambivalent about, frankly.
I mean, I'm not
It's just
I
kind
don't
of
feel too strong about it. It's just there's not much else to talk about, so might as well, right?
That's fair. I mean, I'll give you that. We
Might
can
as
talk
well-
about how power is 167 and climbing right now.
Yeah, Poor Sheep
Black market is on.
could be in a few more nuclear plants, but at this point, why bother? You're halfway to the win.
I mean, Poor Sheep could probably close his eyes and delete all his buildings and still win the game from this point.
Pirates.
But,
I hate those filthy
that'd be a fun
bandits.
test.
Well, when your team was in the rear, and you're putting them on your back and adding 1/3 of the wins to your that your team had before.
Do you not want to take that risk?
Yeah, you
Do
probably
not
don't want to take
just
that
take
risk.
game? All right, fair enough. I can understand that. Man, these subsidiaries are doing a decent job keeping carbon in check, which is kind of nice for Poor Sheep, I guess, as he's just consuming into these chem refineries, which really aren't making that much money. $385 carbon, 1 second. All right, there we go. Game over. Oh, if majority buys don't completely snowball, it can sometimes take a while to get that done.
Yeah, this is one of those slow snowballs. But snowball.
Look, but it was coming.
It was coming.
The avalanche had started. There was no getting out of it. You got to stand there in the path and just wait and watch as the inevitable terror comes down on you.
I think we did answer the question of how Poor Sheep has won 3 IO games in a row, and that is very good early play and diversifying in the markets.
Yeah, I really loved the, even now we can see some of it, the basalt steel nuclear plant setup over there with the robot. Earlier it was double basalt, double steel, 1 nuke plant, where they all had strong adjacency bonuses. I was enjoying looking at that, if I'm being honest.
Yep.
Just little things like that can make a big difference. And of course, much easier to diversify as a robotic player, because A, you can get those adjacency bonuses still more effectively, and B, you can more easily have 2 farms online and still make a lot of money from them, because you don't have to pay through the life support cost first to actually make that money.